Perfect timing. All right, let's go ahead and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Shawnee County Board of County Commissioners work session. Today is Monday, March 3rd, and we're going to get started with kind of a public works day. So let's
like the way that sounds.
Yeah. So let's start it off, Kurt.
Okay. Kurt Niehaus, Director of Public Works. The first item we have for you today is some discussions on our Comprehensive Safety Action Plan. We have two individuals here from Trans Systems, Todd Salfrank and Nicole Hood, who will be discussing the plan, giving you some background information, things to look forward to. As you know, and as I've talked to you before, this Comprehensive Safety Action Plan is necessary. We have to have a qualifying plan before we can apply for implementation grants. Implementation grants are those grants usually associated with a specific project. So with that, Nicole, come on up.
So good morning.
Morning.
Just got this all going here. Okay, so Commissioners, Kurt, thank you for the opportunity to join you today to talk about the Comprehensive Safety Action Plan. And I wanted to start off actually just kudos to you all and kudos to Kurt for applying for the Safe Streets and Roads for All grant, and congratulations for actually receiving it, because it really does show your commitment to safety for the community and just your advocacy for trying to make improvements in the community and do the right thing to eliminate those fatalities and serious injuries. So thank you for that. Okay, so today I was going to jump in just a little bit an overview of the Safe Streets and Roads for All grant, and that includes a little bit on the safe system approach, the Vision Zero background, and share a little bit with you about the safety task force, the public survey. I want to pull that up and share some of those questions with you, which is focused on stakeholder engagement, and then briefly touch base on safety analysis and some of the emphasis areas as far as next steps. So the Comprehensive Safety Action Plan, wouldn't it be fantastic if Shawnee County had 0 roadway fatalities and severe injuries? And really, as far as that goes, wouldn't it be fantastic if the nation had 0 fatalities? And that's really what this is all about, the goal of reaching 0. If you looked over the last few years, there's been over 40,000 people that have been killed on the roadway across the nation. And so the Safe Streets and Roads for All is about moving towards that goal of 0 roadway fatalities and severe injuries on the roadway. The plan, we want to be able to deliver safe streets and roads for Shawnee County. We want to imagine and implement safe spaces for all road users. That's whether it's drivers, whether it's pedestrians, whether it's bicyclists. We want to be able to include safety priority areas and solutions in the safety action plan. So it'll be a roadmap to be able to reduce and prevent severe crashes. And like Kurt mentioned, it will set Shawnee County up to be ready for implementation grants. So we'll finish up the safety action plan and put you in a good position to move forward. The Safe Streets and Roads for All grant, it does evolve around the safe system approach. So this is really about, we know humans make mistakes. We know drivers make errors. We know pedestrians make errors. Bicyclists make errors. So what can we do, given that mistakes are inevitable? How can we work together to, number one, prevent those crashes from occurring? But if they do occur, what can we do to minimize the harm and the consequences? So the safe system approach is about safe road users, safe vehicles, safer speeds, safer roads, and improved post-crash care. Ultimately, once again, if we can have these layers of protection, these layers of safety, and have that redundancy, then hopefully we can move towards preventing crashes before they occur. So if you've ever heard of the Swiss, have you heard of the Swiss cheese model before? Some of you have. So it really does, it likens the safe system approach to the Swiss cheese model. So like I said, the safe system approach is about having the redundancy and the layers of protection. So if you look at the Swiss cheese model, it's all about having multiple layers of protection as well. So if you take slices of Swiss cheese and you put them next to each other, the goal is that you don't, like just with a Swiss cheese, you have holes in those slices of Swiss cheese. Well, just with like crashes, if you make it through that hole, then unfortunately you're moving through ultimately what could be the consequence of a deadly crash. So let me just share an example with you. You can see there we have safe road users. So someone who's very focused. They are paying attention when they're driving, but maybe one day they wake up and they're distracted, or they're on a long trip and they get drowsy. So they make it through that first layer of being a safe road user because that's an error. They're no longer protected. Then you move to that next one, you can see you have safe vehicles. Well, maybe you have all the technology in your vehicle, such as adaptive cruise control or collision avoidance assistance, but maybe you didn't maintain your tires appropriately, so that's another error. You make it through that hole, so you make it through that layer of protection. Then you move on down, maybe safe speeds is an area where the speed limits aren't set appropriately, or maybe they're not being enforced appropriately, so you make it through that layer. And you can get the picture there. If you make it through all those holes, all those layers of safety, then ultimately you could end up with a fatal consequence, which would be someone who's being killed. So once again, the vision for roadway safety is 0 fatalities and serious injuries. If you look at big picture, right now we are in the data analysis phase, so we are collecting a lot of crash data for Shawnee County, and the next step will be engaging stakeholders. So we'll have our first safety task force meeting in March, and then we'll continue to work with the safety task force to, number one, talk about what are the issues, but then we also want to talk about strategies moving forward. So how can we address the issues? And we will have recommendations and projects for Kurt and for you all. Part of the discussion will be your adoption of the plan as we continue to discuss and share some of those improvements with you, talk about some of the countermeasures that we recommend that can take place in Shawnee County to help move towards that goal. And then ultimately, like Kurt said, if we go through the whole report, we come up with the recommendations, then the end game would be having an implementation grant that can help Shawnee County move forward with projects. This is just a little bit more specific. So we have our first safety task force meeting on March 19th, and then we will move into the second safety task force meeting will be in May. We will have a public meeting in June, and then we will have our last safety task force meeting in August. The final report will be in October. And there is a time period after our first safety task force meeting where we will jump into having a public survey, which that's also something I want to share with you today, is those questions. So the safety task force members are community leaders. They are public employees. They're subject matter experts. We have folks from schools, from townships, emergency services, enforcement officers, and the safety task force, they are the folks that we use as a sounding board. So they'll help validate information and data. They'll help provide insight on some of the improvements, some of the emphasis areas. They'll work with us to draft the vision and goals for safety in the region. They're the ones who really represent the community and bring the information back to the study team so that we can ensure we're incorporating what the issues are and what the items are that they feel need to be addressed. And they will serve as trusted community champions, and they'll help evaluate some of the performance measures. So the public survey, our goal is that the safety task force members will also help unveil that survey to the public. They will work with us in coordination with Amanda as well to try to engage as many folks as we can so that we can get good public feedback. We'll use the county website. We'll work with local media and news outlets, of course share it on social media, and then use any avenue we can, such as schools, to be able to engage parents who can actually share information about maybe what some of the issues and concerns are that they see and what some of those improvements should be. So here is, I'm going to pull up the survey. I'll share this with you, but you'll see that it's relatively a quick public survey. You jump into it, and the first question is about where they're from. So they come in here. We can, for today's purposes, I'll just pick City of Auburn. The next question is about ranking the following safety concerns from most to least concerned. So are they more concerned about safer vehicles? Are they concerned about safer roads? If they're concerned about safer roads, they can click that, and they'll put it in priority order. Maybe they're concerned about speeds, or maybe they're concerned about people. And then they also list what safety areas are most important to you in addressing street safety. So there's a whole list of items: roadway departure crashes. Could it be speeding vehicles? Maybe folks are driving distracted or impaired driving, such as alcohol or drugs. Maybe there's motorcyclist concerns in the community of Shawnee County, or school zones. It could be bicyclists, intersections, work zones, pedestrians. Maybe there's folks that aren't buckling up. There's a large percentage of people that are killed every year who are unbuckled. Or maybe it's railroad crossings. So they have the opportunity to select some of those. I'm just picking a few for today's purposes. And then pick the 3 most important safety improvements that your tax dollars help pay for, which affect your safety in the transportation system. So it could be improvements around schools. It can be improvements at public transportation stops. Maybe there's maintenance concerns with pothole repairs or intersection improvements. Maybe it's educating the public on campaigns such as safe driving, buckling up, putting the phones down. Maybe it's pedestrian crossing locations or sidewalks, street lighting, traffic enforcement, vehicle speed reduction. And then how do you usually travel in your jurisdiction on a typical day? Do you drive? Do you walk? Do you have the opportunity to maybe use your bicycle to travel to work every day? If you walk, what is your destination? This is all data that we will use to incorporate into the safety action plan so that we can help move Shawnee County forward in the right direction. And then what outlets would you prefer to receive transportation safety information? Because once this report is done, we'll have an avenue to be able to continue to communicate with the public on some of these transportation safety, the information. So there's different email, newspaper, public meeting, and these are things that we'll work with Amanda on as well. Is there anything else we should know about road safety in your community? So they can tell us that. If they want to continue to be informed about the planning process, they can provide us their contact information. And this is the one that I really like because it says, where is your safety concern? So there's a map included in the survey where they can pick the location. Like I can identify with a pointer here where the latitude and longitude of the location is. You can say what your safety concern is and then what users are impacted. Maybe it's bicyclists or maybe it's drivers. You can attach photos if you want to, and then they can provide demographic information to us as well. So like how long have they lived in the jurisdiction, what is their age, what is their ethnicity, what is your gender identity, household income. This is all demographic information that can be included as part of the survey as well. And then they submit it, and then we will have that data to be able to incorporate into the report. I'll go back to the presentation. And then as far as the actual plan, we will use the public survey information that I just talked about, in addition to all the safety task force information, the crash data information, but we will use the local road safety action plan as the basis for the safety action plan. Your local road safety plan was completed in 2023. It has a lot of great information in there. It identifies safety improvements on your local roads. It did only include all paved roads over 30 miles per hour. The safety action plan will include all public roads, any public road in Shawnee County. So it have a comprehensive look overall. And I shared with you the dates, but once again, we'll have our safety task force meetings, 3 of those. We'll have a public meeting in June, focus on emphasis areas, recommendations, and then we'll work with Kurt to share the draft final action report with you. That's something that we will have to have a resolution showing that the county is committed to Vision Zero, to that goal of moving towards 0 fatalities and serious injuries in your community. And then from there, we'll approve it. Kurt will work with Federal Highway and then hopefully be in a good position for implementation. Any questions?
Question. Does this safety survey, does it include within the city limits, or is it all outside city limits?
Good question. So we did not include the city of Topeka because they are doing their own study.
Yeah.
So when someone goes to the map, there is an actual disclaimer that says that the city of Topeka is not included.
Okay.
Good question.
In the same vein, do the townships do their own?
No, so the townships will all be included as part of the overall Shawnee County Safety Action Plan.
Okay.
And several of them are engaged in the safety task force, so there'll be folks that can bring information from their communities, and then hopefully we can use some of those folks as well to get more feedback on the survey.
Okay, and then for that, I mean, the survey obviously seems to be more geared towards the general public.
Yep.
In terms of those entities, those townships and City of Auburn and Rossville and whatnot, do you guys reach out to them and engage them directly, like the actual government entities?
We will, so we have talked to some of them already to see if they could join the safety task force. And historically, we do have some individual discussions with the township for other studies that we've done. So we're hoping that we have the engagement from them up front, but if we do need to have some of those individual discussions, that's certainly something that we will do as well.
Okay, I know there's, I think the health department is working on a safe routes to school map or something that's going on right now. Maybe Public Works might be part of that too, but I know that right now, you know, my district, Washburn Rural, is they're facing a bus driver shortage, and they're looking at changing the way that they do busing and allowing kids to walk to school and ride bikes now at some schools where they would not have allowed that before. So it might be good to reach out to the school districts as well. I don't know if you've done that yet, but it's certainly something that is being discussed already that
Yes.
would probably play a factor in this.
Yes, and that is something that we will include in the plan. And actually, Kurt has shared with us all of the different plans that the county already has, and he shared some of the other information that we will incorporate into it. But yes, all of those comments will be wonderful for us to include in the report. Todd, did you make note of that, what he just mentioned?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect, yep.
We've already reached out to several contacts at the schools to try and get participation in the task force.
Okay, great.
But like safe routes to school, those are perfect implementation projects. So like if we will incorporate your comments into the safety action plan. And then if implementation grant funds become available, those are certainly the type of projects that often make it to the top because they're just so important. Of course, we have to address the fatalities and the serious injuries, so we have to see what's going on, you know, in that area. But prioritizing those improvements based upon input from the communities as well as crashes, those end up being some very good implementation projects.
Okay, great.
Any other questions?
No, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nicole, and thank you, Todd. Our next topic is Northwest 46th Street, and that's a great segue from what we just discussed to where we're going. Obviously, Northwest 46th Street, one of the primary goals of the project is to improve public safety. So with that, Brian Austin with SBB Engineering will talk about an upcoming 46th Street project.
Thank you, Kurt. Brian Austin, SBB Engineering. Good morning. Wanted to give an update on Northwest 46th Street. It is a half-cent sales tax project from Fielding Road over to Rochester Road. The scope of the project is to improve safety, as Kurt mentioned. So to do that, we're widening it to a 3-lane road. We will have a center turn lane for the length of the project, except for a fill section between Camden Place and Green Hills Road. We'll be providing a 5-foot sidewalk on the south side of the 46th Street for the length and a 10-foot shared use path with a separated pedestrian bridge over Half Day Creek. We'll also be doing culvert extensions and maintenance improvements to the bridge over Half Day Creek. We will start the project next week. The exact date will be determined at a pre-construction meeting later today. We will have a public meeting tomorrow night at Mother Teresa Catholic Church. The first phase of construction will be at Green Hills Road and 46th Street. We are phasing that project first. Green Hills Place is a one access point subdivision. It's got about 23 properties on it. So the focus of phase one will be getting this intersection completed. We will have 46th Street closed during this phase. Portable and changeable message signs will be placed later this week to let motorists know that 46th Street will be closed. There will be a handout at the meeting showing the detour routes. We'll be using Rochester up to 62nd Street and Rochester down to 35th Street as the official detours. And there's alternate routes, Green Hills Road, Button Road, and Rochester down to US 24 are also other routes that will be able to be used. This is showing those official detours in orange and the alternate routes in blue. There will be some work going on US 75 that KDOT will be doing. They'll be doing bridge improvements over 25th Street, over US 24, and over Soldier Creek. So US 75 will be down to one lane each direction for much of the summer. I know citizens are concerned with the traffic. I think this is actually a good time to do this project because my sister lives up near 50th Green Hills Road. She had mentioned she and many of her neighbors take Rochester and Topeka Boulevard anyway too because of the congestion and backup on US 75. This is showing the phase one detour. Again, 46th and Green Hills Place will be closed. As we transition to the next phase, we'll be opening up the roundabout at Green Hills Place and reconstructing a portion from Camden Place to Green Hills. The reason we're doing that is it's in a large fill section and it wasn't practical to maintain traffic during construction during that phase. Again, shutting down the road to try to get that work done as quickly as possible. This is showing Green Hills Road, Green Hills Place, open to traffic. We will have a couple properties that will be using temporary access roads that are east of Green Hills Road during this time. The properties on Camden Place, the bridge over Half Day Creek will be under construction as well, but one lane will be open for those residents, and there's approximately 12 properties that will need to access that one lane road over the bridge while they're working on it. 46th Street 46th Street west of Half Day Creek Bridge will be closed at Button Road. Once phase one and phase two are completed, we'll be switching over to phase three. That'll happen November 15th, 2025. We expect that the culvert under Button Road going to the south will be replaced during those winter months. Then when we get to get into 2026, 46th Street will be open to two-way traffic. We'll reduce speed limits to 40 miles an hour and do one lane each direction. But we'll be able to construct that under traffic, widening 46th Street while maintaining traffic in all of 2026. Project is scheduled to be completed October 30th of 2026. But again, two-way traffic all of 2026 on 46th Street. Again, here's the overall phasing of the project. Phase one at Green Hills Place closed starting next week. Phase two, July 5th through November 15th, and then phase three and phase four in 2026. Are there any questions? I'm the project manager for SBB Engineering. Other contact with the county, Jeff Hunt, the project manager, and Michael Burr will be the project inspector.
Why don't we start with, and I know that there's been a lot of discussion out in the public about what will exactly be the closure of 46th Street. When do we anticipate it being closed? When do we anticipate it being open for traffic?
Yeah, so phase one, go back. The intersection itself at Green Hills Place will be closed starting the week of March 10th and go through July 4th. The side streets, Redwood, Country Park Road, Lever Lane, those will need to go east or south on Green Hills Road. They will not be able to go west during that time. Everything Button Road to the west, that traffic and those citizens won't be impacted. So that first phase, March 10th through July 4th. Phase 2, 46th Street will still be shut down, but the intersection at Green Hills Road will be open at that point. That'll last from July 5th until November 15th of 2025.
Have we already relocated all of the utilities? There's no utility relocation that's going to come into play, delaying this project.
There are still utilities out working. The snows in January and February slowed them down a bit, but have got confirmation that they will be completed this week. AT&T is doing their final splicing. Cox is doing some final relocations this week, and Evergy is setting their last of their poles this week. But they've all confirmed that they'll be out by the end of the week.
Okay. I think one of the frustrations that comes up with the public is when a municipality or governmental entity says it's going to start here and end here, and it gets delayed months and months and months and months. 21st and Topeka Boulevard's a great example. It was supposed to be done last year, and it's still not done. And I know that it's just lingering on, and it kind of creates a level of mistrust with the public when we say it's going to be done in a certain time frame and it's not. But we're anticipating that this is going to be done within that time frame.
Yes.
Okay. And then, okay. The alternate routes, how are we going to get those routes out to the public so they know how to get around this road construction?
There'll be signage that's in the plans for the project. The alternate routes, as you approach the closure coming from the east, there'll be detour signs at Rochester Road, and then again at Green Hills Road, basically hard traffic barricades that would prevent traffic from going. So those alternate routes won't be signed. The official detours will be signed, but there'll be traffic barricades blocking off the road closures.
Just to the east of Rochester Road is the Soldier Township Fire Department. The fire department's going to be noticed up how to get around this road construction to get, if there's any emergencies they need to respond to.
Correct, yeah.
And then are we giving notice to the school district? A lot of people use 46th Street to get their kids to school, whether it's at the Seaman High School or the middle school or elementary school. What notice are we getting out to the school district so they know that it's coming?
We sent out a public postcard to everybody within a 1 mile radius of the project. That's over 1,800 addresses that went out to, including the Township Fire Department, the school, and everybody within that 1 mile radius.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of folks that live up at Hunter's Ridge and below, up above and below 46th Street, and also to the east or west of 75 Highway. Have we thought about maybe contacting the school districts so they can send out a notice to all of the parents on a blast?
Yes, I can get that done.
I think that would be very helpful to get with the school districts so they send out a blast to the parents so the parents know, because if you're not within that district, you may not have that notice, and it wouldn't cost us anything for them to send out an email blast.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Commissioner
I think also we need to have it on our website, if we could have the alternate routes on there.
that should be easy enough.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
There's a public meeting tomorrow at Mother Teresa, is that correct?
Yes, 6 o'clock.
So I guess the phases, I mean, you've got, phase 1 is just the roundabout primarily, right?
Correct, yeah. And the purpose is just to focus on that to get it open as quickly as possible, because it's going to be a pretty large inconvenience to those properties south on Green Hills Place.
And I guess my concern with that is that they, doing that during school, with 2 months left in the school year, is that something where it might be better to do that after school gets out? Or, and, I mean, is it possible to do it, the phasing differently? Or,
There's enough work where we won't be able to do all the work we have to under the road closure in that 2-month period, 2.5-month period that summer's out, school's out of session. There's still quite a bit of work to get done.
okay.
Commissioner Mays?
Yeah.
I think the question that you were asking is, can you do phase 3 and 4 first, and then do phase 1 and 2 later? And again, I'm not an engineer. This is where the engineers step in and tell us why that can or can't happen. And I think the question was, if you were to do phase 3 or 4 when it's not closing the roadway completely, and then starting the road complete closure after school gets out.
That's kind of what I was hinting at, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if we swap the phases and we did phase 3 and phase 4 prior to 1 and 2, we'd still end up with the same problem. We'd have the road closure happening next year instead of this year. You want to take that, Kurt?
Yeah. Don't forget, I-70 is going to be closed next year. We do not want 46th Street closed when I-70 is closed. This is the year to do the closures.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I know that we've got public comment at the end, but I also know
Sure.
that we've got quite a few folks that are here. I don't know if they've signed up or not.
Sure. Well, I didn't get anything, but I noticed some people have been coming in.
I'd like to speak for sure.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and have some public comment. So, all right, you want to start us off?
Appreciate it, commissioners. There's a lot to unpack there. So my first question would be, in respect to Kurt, who I've spoke to and had multiple meetings about this project before today. So I'm fully versed on the phases, the opinions, and things of that nature. We had a meeting with Commissioner Cook. Kurt was also there with about 25, 30 businesses, all at Gambino's Pizza a week ago, because that's how many businesses are extremely concerned about this project. Multiple who gave me permission today to speak on their behalf will be looking at closure because of this plan. So easily 4 or 5 businesses currently at 46 and 75 will be out of business with this project, per them. I can give names if you'd like me to. So going back to, I heard Kurt say, now's the time to do the project. I would 1,000% disagree. I live in North Topeka. I'm on 46th Street 5 times a day. I'm on 62nd Street 5 times a day. I have 5 kids. 3 of them drive to school every day. 2 of them we take to school every day and pick them up and take them to practices and go places every day. So that's not accurate. People can't handle when 75 is closed by itself. That by itself drives everybody to madness when 75 is closed and there's detours and there's 30-minute delays on 75 highway. That's a problem. You just closed North Topeka Boulevard a week ago. People can't even use North Topeka Boulevard Bridge to get across town now, right now. And now we're going to close the 3rd main road of North Topeka all at the same time, all 3 major roads completely shut down. That seems like the craziest idea I've ever heard. Correct me if I'm wrong, we have 6 years to spend the money that's allocated to 46th Street. 6 years from now. Plenty of time to start that project. Plenty of time to let these 75 North and North Topeka Boulevard Bridge, let them get complete. Let people be able to cross those ways before you hit the other main road that everybody crosses on. To me, that's common sense. Don't close all 3 down. Like, we have to be able to move as residents. We can't be locked in our houses for a year. Businesses will shutter. excuse me. You know, aside from that, I live on 62nd Street. Those roads, which we talked about this in our meeting the other day, going off KDOT numbers, 62nd currently sees 2,000 cars a day from Topeka Boulevard to 75. 35th Street sees almost 2,000 cars a day from Topeka to 75. 46th Street sees 7,500 a day. And we're saying split those up and tell them to go to 62nd and 35th. So now 62nd is going to have 5,500 to 6,000 a day. 35th is going to have 5,500 to 6,000 a day. That's triple the traffic. I would advise you guys and whoever cares, go drive those roads. Assume nothing. Verify. Here's the shoulder of the road on 62nd Street and 35th Street. If you go off that shoulder, you're in the ditch. The shoulder of the road on 46th Street is about 15 foot wide. A whole car could go through it, no problem. A lot of room for error there. There's no room for error on 62nd and 35th. There will be accidents. We talked about this is a plan for safety. No, it's not. This is the opposite. This is a plan for a nice roundabout and some nice sidewalks for people to jog on, which everybody is in favor for, including myself. Everybody wants road improvements. Everybody wants, those of us that pay a lot of sales tax and collect a lot of sales tax and hand it over, we want infrastructure. We want nice sidewalks that people appreciate and can use. But without unbelievable amounts of damage to get there. The most dangerous intersection in North Topeka, I don't know if that lady was still here that was doing the road safety discussion. Try 62nd and 75. Look at some stats on that road, on that intersection. Remember when I was a kid, there was a game called Frogger. Anybody remember Frogger? That's what 62nd and 75 is. You definitely wouldn't advise your kids to cross that road. Most don't right now today with 2,000 cars going across. Turn it to 6,000 and tell me what that ends up being. It's going to be really bad. But that's what this plan is. And so, taking the businesses aside for a minute, clearly you take 30+% to 50% of their sales away for almost a year. Yeah, you're going to destroy a lot of businesses. I know you guys are not, you're the commissioners for all of the residents, for everything to do with the business of your counties, not just roads. You're also the commissioners of making sure the kids are safe and they can drive safe, that businesses can make it and, can function. So we have to consider all facets of what we're doing. With 6 years to spend this money, maybe we should, I heard Aaron pose a couple good questions. Could we do this first? Could we do that first? What about the timing? What about, good questions. And I'm sure if we didn't ram this down everybody's throat out of nowhere, nobody knows that this is going on. I had 25, 30 businesses at Gamino's Pizza. How many of them knew about this project? 0, till I told them. There's no communication. No residents know about anything. Hey, we're going to have a meeting at the church 3 days before we tear it up. Nobody knows. This was 8 years ago when we passed this sales tax. My next question would be, a year later, so like right now on 62nd Street, it needs road repair right now. Again, if you were to drive from Topeka to 75 and just take a quick drive up that road, you'll notice and go, oh man, here's some sections that need some work today. I can imagine what a year later will look like when you put 3 years worth of traffic on that road. Those roads will be destroyed. Is there money to fix those roads in 12 months from now? Are we going to start the repair of 62nd and 35th immediately following? And where will that money come from? Will it be another sales tax increase request? Like, what's the long-term plan for this project? So I think there's a lot to consider here, but the safety is number one. You know, that's my, again, father of 5, mother, cousins, friends, lived there my whole life. 90% of the community does not want this to happen. They want the infrastructure, they want the sidewalks, all that is desired. Figure out how to keep a lane open. Don't put 3,500 extra cars on 62nd and 35th. Don't do that. Figure out another way. If there is a way to get 12 houses off one of those roads that they're going to be allowed to cross through, then figure out a way to do a little extra to let everybody get through. Clearly there is a way, or they wouldn't be able to get them through. I think there needs to be more planning, more consulting, more thinking. Then you do this project. You get the Topeka Boulevard Bridge finished. You get 75 finished. Then you start another project. That would be my opinion. That's all I've got.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak?
I have questions. Like some up. So my first question was, were there any?
Your name?
Yeah, just
Oh,
say your
Erica Lichtenauer. I'm a realtor and do a lot north. I also have lived north pretty much my whole life.
Okay.
Currently own property up there. My biggest concern, has there been any studies done for safety for the kids? 62nd, 75? Was there any safety studies done?
You have to go to KDOT.
Yeah, KDOT.
I need to go to KDOT? Nobody knows?
So, I mean, KDOT is the one that's their interchange.
So this project is supposed to start in 3 days. And you guys are cutting all of that traffic to 62nd and 75. As a mother, you haven't checked to verify what that's going to do. I have 2 teenage boys driving. You're going to push all of those kids to 35th or 62nd. And nobody can tell me that there's been safety studies done? Has the high school been included in these plans?
There's alternate routes.
No, there's not.
There is. You don't have to take.
They're not sufficient alternate routes. Have you lived up there?
I do not live up there.
Your sister does. Would your sister send her kids?
No.
Those are the 2 options for anybody living on the west side.
You can take Button Road down to.
Yeah.
Says 46.
And it's not safe. How many wrecks? Okay. Well, how many wrecks have been at 62nd and 75? It's a lot. It's a lot to not allow my kids to ever cross, to go to my brother's property, ever to cross 62nd and 75. They're not allowed. Now you're telling me half the high school has to take that alternate route because there's 2 options. What I'm infuriated most about is that nobody's considering the safety for these kids, and there's not alternate routes. And nobody in here can tell me that that's been looked at or done. You're just pushing this through. No, nobody knew this was coming, and it clearly isn't ready.
Anyone else wishing to speak? Okay. Any other questions, comments?
Kurt, when we do the public discussion tomorrow night at Mother Teresa, are we going to be putting out maps showing these alternate routes that you're talking about?
Yes, yes.
And the alternate routes, I mean, to address the concerns about the high school kids and traffic on 62nd Street, 46th and 75 Highway is still open.
46 and 75 is still open. 35th and 75 is still open.
And the recommendation would be, is if you were taking 46 now to get to high school, you would take 46 under the highway around, and then you would take either Bunton Road up to 62nd Street and over, or you would take 35th Street down and then across.
I mean, yeah, that's the important of the map, is that there's alternatives. If people are scared of the intersection at 62nd and US 75, they can come south on Button Road back to 46th Street. Remember, the full length of the project will not be closed at one time. It'll be isolated areas. Phase 1 will be the roundabout. Phase 2 will be that section west of the roundabout to Half Day Creek. So the full length of the project won't be closed. So it allows for people to make decisions about how they want to get to their destination.
So, Kurt, this isn't the first roundabout we've done on 46th Street. We did Rochester and Topeka Boulevard.
Right.
We've done,
2 or 3 at Hunter's Ridge.
yeah, the Hunter's Ridge ones. I mean, how were those handled? Do you recall? I don't remember if you were here or not at that time.
I wasn't, and I don't recall, but remember when, like, on Rochester Road, when that roundabout was built, it was predominantly as part of the adjacent section to the east. And so I don't remember if there was a closure. I'd have to ask Tom Flanagan. He's the only one I know that was here at the time.
There was never closures on any of those roundabouts.
I can answer as well.
Okay.
I was the project engineer for 46th in Rochester. That was a single lane roundabout, so that one was closed. The roundabouts at
Could you come to the microphone?
The roundabouts at Hunter's Ridge and Fielding were 2-lane roundabouts, and we did maintain traffic through construction on those two. We did shut down Topeka Boulevard and 46th Street in Rochester and 46th Street when those two were done.
Were they done simultaneously then?
No,
Or-
those two were done. They were done at separate times, separate years,
Okay.
Topeka Boulevard and Rochester.
And another thing I want to bring up, if we delay this project, we still have the issue of 62nd at US 75. That issue isn't going to go away unless KDOT builds an interchange in the meantime. And I understand there are no plans to build an interchange at 62nd US 75. So regardless of when we build this project, that issue it'll be there. Okay, let's look at a scenario where we delay the project and build it after I-70 is back open. Then you're stacking up against our Rochester Road project. That's not good. So you think people are tired of construction now? Well, 46th Street's closed and then Rochester Road is closed. So now is the time to start this project.
So, the I-70 project is gonna last like 3 years at least, right? I mean, we're
Well,
talking
they're
about
starting
Polk Quin-
now,
We're talking
so-
about Polk Quincy Viaduct and
right.
all of that. I mean, they're,
It's starting, as you know, you've seen the work, it's starting now, it'll go into 2027. But I-70 will actually be closed in 2026.
okay. And that is supposed to divert to Highway 24.
Highway
Correct.
24 and maybe the-
470.
And 470, right. But people people don't always follow, especially if they're familiar with an area, they don't always follow a signed detour. They will look for their own preferred route. And so even though, for example, on our project here, 46th Street, 62nd is the signed detour. That doesn't mean every one of those individuals that normally take 46th Street will use Northwest 62nd Street. They'll find a way. The first week or so, they may follow the signed detour and say, hey, this isn't for me, I can find a better way. They will find an alternate route to get where they need to go.
And will the sign detour direct them across 75 Highway at 62nd, or is it gonna send them back on Button Road?
No, I think right now it uses US 75, is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
There's There's no signage at this point to direct them to Button Road if they're on 62nd Street. It will be open. There's no signage to direct them that way.
I mean, that might be something to consider at least, because I know, Button Road is, I think it's probably a 45 mile per hour speed limit, no stop signs, pretty easy.
No shoulders. No shoulders. No shoulders. It's a drop off.
But again,
Yeah, but here's the thing, if we do that, let's say we did the project this summer, or if we did it 3 years from now, none of that changes.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
this
right.
is,
That's
this is,
exactly
the
right.
problem is,
Lane open. But
you can't keep a lane open on a single lane roundabout. There's no room. And the comment was made, well, you can accommodate individuals with a little kind of a shoe fly. That might be 100 feet long. If you're going to allow people to travel the full length of the project, one lane in each direction, you're talking 10,000 feet long, 2 miles. You know how much that's going to increase the cost of the project? Significant. It will also delay the project. Significant.
If it saves lives, it's worth it,
yeah.
period.
well,
Why even do the project?
well, I think that there's a couple of reasons. So the project was voted on by the voters. We have to do the project, right?
Not
So
the
the
specific
design,
scope of work.
right, the design was not necessarily.
46th Street, so you could go 7 miles to the west on 46, 7 miles east on 46. You could do a roundabout at 46 in Indian Creek. You could do a roundabout at 46 in Brickyard. There's a whole bunch of options, all different directions. And do turning lanes and shoulders. You could run sidewalks to Brickyard. You could run sidewalks to Indian Creek. That money could get spent up all kinds of ways on 46th Street. Not that this plan is the only plan, it's just their plan. That's the reality.
How was the ballot question worded on this? I mean, do you remember, did it say?
No, but in the memorandum of understanding between the city and the county, it just gave project limits.
Okay. So,
And of course, we designed the project, number one, within the funding constraints, or what, accelerated or inflated because between 2016 and now. And we did include it in the construction what we felt were needed safety improvements.
But you didn't look at the safety for.
Those are short-term issues. This is be there forever.
It's not like that.
yeah, so, and then, I mean, we've got traffic counts. I mean, so I assume there was some sort of a traffic study done up there.
I would assume nothing.
Well, do we have any idea of the speeding that happens up there? Because I know 46th Street is, 46th and Auburn Road are probably some of our more dangerous roads in terms of accident fatalities. It seems like every year, it seems like we have a fatality either on Auburn Road or 46th Street, and it's usually a high school kid. I mean, do we know data on, is this gonna slow things down in terms of speed limits? And obviously, the center lane's gonna be a much safer environment for for kids to drive to school.
The completed project will have a lower posted speed than the present posted speed. Is that correct?
We are keeping it, so we did do a speed study in anticipation for the project. The posted speed limit is usually based off the 85 percentile, and the 85 percentile was the 55-mile existing speed limit was appropriate for that. There have been fatalities on 46th Street in the area of the project. Fortunately, they have not been in the last 10 years. There was a fatality further to the east that is not within the project limits. The roundabout will provide a way to slow down traffic. A couple of the fatalities that happened prior to 10 years ago were on that embankment section west of Green Hills Road. So the roundabout will slow down traffic just operationally as they travel through that embankment area. But a speed study was done, and yeah, we will be, the posted speed limits won't change on this project, but we anticipate traffic, especially around Green Hills Road, to be slower because of the roundabout.
Remember, roundabouts have a benefit. They break the roads into segments. They force people to slow down. They're more pedestrian friendly. They're more efficient.
Do we have any traffic numbers on Green Hills itself?
About 300 cars a day come off Green Hills to 46th Street. Basically nothing.
Right, I know Green Hills Place, there's 20 houses or something, right? So there's nothing there really.
We're hopeful in the future that will be connected, that will be extended to the south and east. So, but it really,
Sees about 1,000 cars a day, and that'll go to about 3,500 a day once you divert everybody to Button.
but
Not
again,
even counting 40, or 62nd, 35th, so Green Hills and 46 is probably one of the lowest intersections that we have. I can tell you 10 intersections that could use a roundabout, just not that one. And maybe not on 46th Street, 62nd Topeka, 35th at Button. I could give you a bunch of them that are crazy intersections that need roundabouts.
those locations are not in the project limits.
Okay. Okay, any other questions? All right,
Okay.
thank you, Kurt.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and move on. And then again, just to remind everybody, there is a public meeting tomorrow at, do you know, can you recite the details? I don't have them memorized. Is it?
6 PM, Mother Teresa, public
Yep.
meeting.
Yep, okay. Thank you, guys. I appreciate everybody coming today. All right, well, let's move on to our next item, which is to go over the CDL program that we've implemented.
Okay. Third item, I'd sure like our new, our first graduating class of Class A CDL training program graduates. William? How are you? Congratulations. Evan? Jeff?
All right.
Okay, so, yeah, just brought them here. They're our first graduating class. All three were obviously successful. They have been, I guess, promoted to regular maintenance positions. They are still on probation, I believe, but they have been promoted, so their salary has been increased. And I'll give them an opportunity to say some things, or if you want to ask them a couple questions before I move on to some more information on the CDL training program.
Okay.
You guys want to make a statement or anything, or would you like to ask them any questions? Brief? No? Okay.
Commissioner Rippon does.
Commissioner
Yeah,
Mays?
Commissioner Rippon. Yeah.
How long does it take to get through the whole education part of this?
4 weeks.
4 weeks?
4 weeks.
It's not bad. And we pay for that?
We pay for it.
Yep.
And then over the course of 50 weeks, they will repay the costs. They're getting their salary increase for graduating successfully. The increase is higher than the amount they have to pay back. So there's an immediate benefit financially for each of the graduates.
And which level is CDL? There's several different categories.
They move up to road maintenance too because they have a Class A CDL.
Okay. All right. Very good.
And when was your training completed?
10? Yeah. February 10th.
Was it in time for the snowstorm, I guess?
Oh, yeah. Right there.
Okay, well, good. We're glad to have you here. I know
Yeah.
it's a position that we've had a real hard time filling over the years, and so this is something that we came up with to try and get some new people in, and that's great. So, I mean, I felt like prior to the position, to this program, our job requirements required you to have a CDL basically to come on, and it was hard to find people, so we said,
No,
let's,
I would have never done it if I didn't have the program. I would have never done it.
yeah, that's fantastic. Good to know. I appreciate that.
Congratulations on getting through it, and thank
Yeah.
you for
Yeah.
doing it.
Very good.
Do you think Stephanie would want to get a picture or anything? Okay.
Sure,
All right.
let's do that.
Yeah.
All right, gotcha. Thank you.
I appreciate you guys coming. Thank you. Thank you. Good to meet you guys.
Okay. The last thing for the day is related to CDL training program. I wanted to go through some information for you that you might find interesting. I gave you a handout, each of you a handout this morning. And number one, there's a section of our org chart. And I want to point out that District 1, it's full, except for the 2 vacancies in Monmouth Township. District 2 has a crew leader vacancy and 1 vacancy. District 3 has 4. That's up in the northwest part of the county. It is difficult finding employees that want to work up there. District 4 has a crew leader vacancy and 1 crew vacancy. This is, if you add up those vacancies, this is the smaller numbers we've had in a long time. So we've got the 3 graduates that you just met. We've got 2 additional individuals that will start their training program March 24th. And we have 1 individual that that's in process, that's waiting drug testing results. So we're hoping here in a short time, we will have 6 trainees on board. So again, that's the lowest number of vacancies we've had in quite a while. Now, since the program started, HR has forwarded 57 trainee applicants to Public Works. Of those 57, 36 have been interviewed. Of those 36 that have been interviewed, 7 were hired. 5 of those, 3 of those you met this morning. 2 of them are starting class March 24th, and we hired 2, but they did not show up the first day of work. 5 of them we've interviewed. We extended an offer for employment, but 2 of those applicants did not pass a drug screen. 1 declined a conditional offer, and 1 passed the drug testing but then declined employment. And included in there is an applicant that's awaiting drug testing results. We hope the results are negative. That would be a positive for us, and they will be on board very soon. And then 24 of those people that we interviewed, no employment offer was extended. And then, of course, the remaining 21, those applicants for various reasons were not interviewed, and you can see in the table that I provided the reasons for that. So that gives you an idea of what we've been doing. 36 interviews takes quite a bit of resources. We don't mind. The fact that we may have 6 trainees is a good thing, and we're glad to have them.
Yeah, this is exciting. So the District 3 still has 4 vacancies there.
Yeah.
And that one, is that the one you said that
Yeah.
they have a hard time getting people to work up there,
Yeah,
right?
that's in the northwest part of the county, north of Rossville. And it's no one, most people like to work relatively close to where they live, and it's hard finding people that want to work up there. But as we fill positions in other districts, it may force people to work up in that district.
Yeah, okay. I wonder if that's something where at some point, and this is just spitballing and probably shouldn't say it publicly, but I mean, do we maybe need to look at a shift differential or something for somebody working up there?
It's possible that might be a strategy we can use. And don't forget that district handles Grove Township. So it's a district that is needed. And I think Grove would be very grateful if we kept that as those positions filled.
Sure. And as we get better staffed, I mean, do you have any indication of when we might be able to staff at least one of those Monmouth Township positions? I know we've had some issues out there as well that probably need to get handled.
I think when we get some more of our positions filled, then we might look into asking applicants if they're willing to work dedicated Monmouth Township roads.
Okay. Yeah. Any other questions for Kurt? No. Happy to see it's working out. Keep us posted.
You bet.
I appreciate it. Any other questions, concerns? Okay. So we'll move on, thank you, Kurt, to our next item, which is public comment. We don't have anyone signed up. And I believe we had a little bit earlier. And then we will move to administrative communications. We have at least one.
Hi, good morning, Commissioners. Dylan Hart with the Shawnee County Department of Emergency Management. I wanted to come up here today and talk about Severe Weather Preparedness Week for Kansas that started today. We'll go till Friday. We'll be posting on our Facebook some tips, some tricks, some things you should think about. Each day will pertain to a very specific severe weather event. First day today will be sort of more just a call to action. Are you prepared? Do you know your plan? Do you know what you or your loved ones would do in the case of a severe weather event? Tuesday, we would go into flood safety. Wednesday, tornado safety. Thursday, hail/wind safety. And then Friday, lightning safety. And so again, we'll be putting out some information about what you should do in those events and be linking back to the National Weather Service, Topeka, for more detailed things as well. We were supposed to have March 5th, Wednesday night, a storm spotters class with National Weather Service at Washburn Tech. Due to severe weather coming up starting Tuesday in the morning, going through Wednesday noon, we have decided to reschedule that with National Weather Service. We do not have a date yet, but we will post about that once we have a date. The severe weather that I'm speaking of, it's a mix of things. Starting sort of Tuesday morning, you have severe thunderstorms into that day, Tuesday. Tuesday starting at noon until Wednesday noon, we have a high wind watch, 34 mile per hour winds with 60, possibly 70 mile hour gusts. And then that goes into possible blizzard-like conditions, which we will post about when those things come out as well. Any sort of sit reps. All right, that's all I have for you.
Any questions? All right, thank you very much.
All right, thank you, guys.
Appreciate it. Any other administrative communications? Commissioner Cook?
Nothing?
Commissioner Rippon?
Nothing at this time.
All right, I don't have anything either, so we do not have a need for executive session today either, so we are adjourned.